It all started with this guy, Jeff Jansen. The whole thing was pretty simple, really. I go with him to film a crusade in Tanzania, and I get to go on a safari when it was all over. Now let me give you a little picture of just how naive I was when I began making this movie. I thought I would fly in, film some big crowd scenes where everyone goes wild for God. We'd capture a ton of salvations and go home looking like conquering heroes for Jesus. But something happened to me on the way to a simple film shoot. I quickly learned that something far more important than simply playing church was happening around the world. For me, it would start here in Tanzania in a little white tent. It would ultimately lead to people and places that must be seen to be believed. I was about to be introduced to the real world, and my little Christian bubble would be destroyed in the process. But let's get back to that white tent, shall we? This is where it all began. We were setting up for the first night of the crusade when I noticed this little guy way off to the side. I figured it was a seating area for the hearing impaired. So the crusade starts. Singing, dancing, preaching, altar call. Just like clockwork. But then Jeff prays and, suddenly, I'm no longer at a crusade. I'm in a war zone. And that's when I realized this tent wasn't for the hearing impaired. This was the demon tent. Now there was one girl who helped me make sense of all this. That's her, right there. I call her Abercrombie Girl. After she came forward and Jeff prayed his prayer, she started to manifest a demon. So they whisked her away to the demon tent, and that's kind of where we were introduced. I never thought I'd be face to face with a demon-possessed person. It was horrible enough to experience, until later I had someone translate what she was actually saying. This went on for so long I finally had to step outside to get some fresh air, but it wasn't any better out there. I thought Christianity was supposed to be easy, like the ultimate self-help experience. God would swoop in and take all of our problems away if only we believed in Him. The reality, this reality, was startling. This was my first exposure to the war, the Great War of the Invisible. These people weren't suffering from mental illness or wild imaginations. Abercrombie Girl wasn't insane. She was caught in the middle of something much bigger than her.
There can be no question that we are at war. We're fighting a spiritual war in the world of ideas and in the world of the demonic.
And if you believe in an all-powerful, all-good God, how can you not believe we're at war? Because I think it's rather obvious that this world doesn't reflect completely the character of an all-good, all-powerful God.
Well, I spent my whole life not wanting to know too much, because knowledge meant responsibility. But once I saw for myself that there was something beyond me, that I was in the middle of a spiritual war, whether I wanted to be or not, I had to know more. The only thing... Oh yeah, remember Abercrombie Girl? I figured you probably wanted to know how her story ended.
Sing, 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 if you're lost in the years. Sing, sing, sing.